In the middle of the 20th century, as rumors of my existence started circulating, an entire continent was waking up to the realization that their lives were soon to change forever.
My fellow Americans, it falls upon me to disclose events that impact our nation's standing in the family of free and democratic peoples. With a heavy heart, I must reveal an occurrence of this very morning. The Soviet authorities released to the world secret government pictures of a costumed individual. Our intelligence sources confirm that his spacecraft made an unintended descent onto a collective farm in Ukraine 3 decades past. An extraterrestrial of immense capability, this alien Superman, endowed with extraordinary hearing, impervious flesh, and the ability to gaze through barriers and fire laser beams from his eyes, adheres to the doctrines of communism. His mere existence poses a profound challenge to our status as a global leader. This afternoon, I am bound for Helsinki to confer with our NATO allies on this grave matter, and to deliberate a balanced course of action. In this interim, I ask for your composure, and invite you to join me in hopeful prayer that our circumstances may not be as dire as they presently appear.
I had made quite an impression. They called me a soldier, but that wasn't true. A soldier always follows orders. A soldier knows and hates his enemy. A soldier only fights and dies for his own people. I fought for what was right.
Comrade Secretary, we have lost control of Sputnik 2. Oh my God, it's coming down in America.
Sputnik 2 weighed 5,000 pounds and would have delivered a force powerful enough to level an entire city. 3 seconds after hitting the roof, a cluster of support cables groan and snap. The people below scream for someone to save them. Not my people. All the lies they spread about me, the propaganda they engineered at the height of the Cold War. None of it mattered for a while on that bright afternoon. For just a single moment, they realized I was here to save them too.
Absolutely magnificent. I knew these random acts of heroism wouldn't be confined to the parameters of Mother Russia. It's such a shame he works for the other side. I honestly believe that Superman and I would have been the best of friends if he'd popped up in America. Now make sure they raise that satellite from the water precisely as I described. The information he left on that hull is essential, especially if our dear friend in the White House expects me to build him a Superman of our own.
What are you doing here, Superman? I thought they were setting you up with the Amazon princess tonight.
You weren't at the party, and you've been acting irrational lately, Piotr. I am genuinely concerned. You really don't like me very much, do you?
You mean the total stranger meddling in my affairs? No. And I really don't like the fact that you need to be liked so much either, comrade. Who do you think you are, flying around and wearing our flag? How can they call you a symbol of everything we believe in when you aren't even from this planet? You're the opposite of Marxist doctrine, Superman. Living proof that all men aren't created equal. It doesn't matter how fast you are, how strong you are, or how good you are with a rifle since the magnificent Superman appeared. Why bother with Pyotr Roslov as your bodyguard when you're watched over by an alien who could catch bullets since he was a toddler?
Actually, the powers didn't begin until a few weeks after my 12th birthday. My super hearing was first. I thought I was hearing voices until I realized it was the children in the next collective. But until that point, I was just an ordinary little boy with bruised knees, a wheezy cough, and a crush on my cute, red-headed neighbor. If I'd had my powers, I'd have left the farm years before now. But I didn't.
That's easy to say when you're streaking through the sky, Superman. Not so much fun when you're down here working in the gutters like the rest of us. Did you hear about the purge last week? 2 dissidents printing anti-Superman day leaflets. All I remember is the boy. Your parents are dead! Get out of my sight! Don't walk! Run! The kid couldn't have been more than 9 years old, but his glare could stop a clock ticking. Somebody said he threw himself in the Moscow River. Others said he disappeared into the sewers and swore revenge. I shot his parents. What does that do to a boy, Superman? Is there anybody who can answer that?
No!
Damn you! They all might think you're wonderful now, but I know where this is going, alien. Your interference is going to be the worst thing that ever happened to us. Superman, help us!
What? There's someone shouting for help in Moscow.
Superman, help us!
Gentlemen, I believe Comrade Stalin's respiratory systems are under attack from acute cyanide poisoning.
Father!
Captain Roslov was devastated by the old man's death. We all were. He didn't rest until he found the man who poisoned him and had him shot in Red Square in full public view. I was so distracted by the whole thing, I was barely paying attention to events abroad.
The world as we know it becomes a little more impossible every day, Agent Olsen. Technology curves stipulated this equipment wouldn't be invented for another 5 decades. Yet, here we are, with science straight out of Ray Bradbury himself. What is it about this man of steel that makes my head work so much faster, eh? Norman Rockwell, apple pie, stars and stripes, and the 4th of July, Agent Olsen. Young man, I'd like you to meet Superman too.
The days and weeks that followed saw America ruthlessly exploit our political confusion. Stalin's death had left an enormous void in our great nation that the party hierarchy begged me to fill. However, this was a rescue I was reluctant to undertake. Dealing with the duplicate, of course, was completely different. This had become something of a personal matter. These shores are off limits, comrade. Not if you understand. The duplicate was imperfect, a crude effort compared to Lex's later work, with abilities little more than a warped aggregate of my own. The submarine was carrying 4 nuclear missiles. 3 of them stayed where they belonged. 258 innocent bystanders, all dead before I even hit the ground. A second later, and the body count triples. Perhaps you misunderstood. This country does not need American protection. Your presence here is an aggressive act. Go home and tell your president to mind his own affairs. Suddenly the clock stopped. The duplicate and I exchanged glances. 2 moving objects on a static, frozen background. We both knew that one of us would have to make a choice. To this day, his true intentions remain a mystery to me. I wonder if he knew what he was doing, or if he understood perfectly and sacrificed himself.
Hello, everybody. Be very pleased to meet you.
I'm afraid we'll never know.
Don't interrupt, Lois. This conversation has only been calculated to last 38 seconds. Our marriage is about to begin an indefinite sabbatical, effective immediately. This time will be spent devising a plan to humiliate and defeat Superman. I have resigned from Star Labs, destroyed my notes, and terminated the contracts of anyone who understood my procedures. The Superman duplicate is a mistake that must not be repeated. Say you understand, darling. Say you don't take this as a personal insult.
Are you telling me that our marriage is over because Superman beat your monster in a fight?
What are you talking about? I don't care about the fight. I'm devoting my life to Superman for another reason entirely, Lois. The duplicate of that alien farm boy had the tenacity to beat me at chess last night.
The Man of Steel is dead. All rise for the national anthem.
Joseph Stalin's funeral took place on a Monday. 5 million voices boomed our glorious national anthem. But between the coughs and prayers, I could still hear her. A unique solitary voice pattern from the rural collective where I was raised. The sweet red-headed girl from my past. The cornfields of Ukraine, and my dear sweet parents seemed so far away. Loma Rosarenko. My God, look at you. You haven't changed a bit since we used to cause all that trouble back on the farm.
Me? What about you? I nearly died when the children showed me your picture in the paper. You wouldn't believe how hard it's been not to tell everyone who you really are.
Children?
Yes, Jordan and Mehri. We spent all our money traveling from St. Petersburg for the funeral. And now, we have to queue here for scraps with everyone else.
This isn't right, Lona. These children shouldn't have to stand in line and beg for food.
It's okay, Superman. It's not your fault. It's just the way the system works. You can't take care of everyone.
Actually, I can, Lona. There's no good reason why I shouldn't. Tell your friends they don't have to be scared or hungry anymore, comrades. Superman is here to rescue them.